celebrating the inaugural Poet Laureate of the town of Branford, Judith K. Liebmann, at the Blackstone Library, January 27th, 2024.
Today is a really exciting day, I believe, for the town of Branford, and I thank all of you for your presence. I just want to state, it was probably several months ago, if not longer, some residents had expressed an interest of why, Branford should have a Poet Laureate. And initially they came and brought it to my attention, and that we should select it, which I thought was a great idea. But we really thought the Blackstone Library, through the Blackstone Library and their leadership here, was the one, and Katie, I believe, will talk a little bit more about that process. But I just want to thank Blackstone for taking this on in terms of coming out with a process, developing a process, engaging the community. They engaged the schools, they engaged the art community, they engaged Willoughby Wallace, Alice Pence is here, the other libraries, in terms of going through a process to find our and it is truly the Branford's Poet Laureate. And we were fortunate to find a great person in Judith Liebmann, who you'll meet shortly. But I just want to, Branford, the town of Branford, I think, has long recognized that we are a community that has supported the arts. We have a terrific theater program. We have an arts community here through BACA and the gallery on the green. And a few years ago, even the town, through our Parks and Recreation department that often coordinates a lot of events throughout town, we created a new position, an arts and cultural and special events coordinator, which has really brought that department, brought the town in terms of what we do and bring entertainment, arts, theater, music to the community, because it is something that really brings a community together. I think it shows the diversity within a community and really what makes our town special. So I think there's been a history of where Branford has truly supported the arts. And now that we have a Poet Laureate, I feel that is just a continuation of that support and acknowledgement and celebrating truly what we have here in Branford. So once again, I just want to thank those, the Blackstone Library, the selection committee for bringing, selecting our Poet Laureate. I think we're going to have an exciting year coming forward through this process and through our Poet Laureate. So I welcome all you to stay engaged, and thank you for being here. At this time, I'm going to ask State Representative Robin Comey to come up and say a few words. Robin?
Thank you so much. Gosh, don't lean on this. I have a bum foot, as they say. But thank you all for coming out today. I made sure that I got here early today because I really felt that there would be such a public showing for this, and I certainly was not wrong in that. Thank you to the Blackstone Library, to Jamie, the Town of Branford, Department of Recreation, for all that they have done to, as Jamie said, to make things to make a process for this to happen, and also to honor sort of the arts and poetry. I think we can agree that this type of literature. I was explaining to Judith a little earlier that I came across recently a poem that my son had written, who is now 16, when he was maybe in third grade or so, and every time I read it makes me cry. And I think it's because the teachers took them through this sort of process of putting language to their emotions and to the smells and to the feels and to the touches that he had that he was experiencing, and he was sharing what it was like to live in our family. And that is something that I certainly appreciate, and I appreciate the process that goes into it to sort of give us an emotional response to to a certain experience or moment in our life. So because this event is all about our first ever Poet Laureate, I won't take much more time, but I do want to congratulate Judith Liebmann, and again thank the Blackstone, Willoughby Wallace, Baca, and all of the folks on the committee who made this happen. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to the event this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. At this time, I'll ask Katie McNichol to come up, the head librarian for the Blackstone Library, and I want to just once again really thank Katie for all of her work, not only with the Poet Laureate selection process, but really overseeing this great institution that we have here in Branford. The James Blackstone Library is certainly a treasure that we have here in Branford, and we are fortunate. So I just want to thank Katie for being the steward, great steward of this fine institution. And welcome, ask Katie to come up and she'll introduce our Poet Laureate. Katie, thank you.
Wow, what a turnout. Thank you all so much for being here today. As Jamie said, I'm Katie McNichol. I'm the director here at the Blackstone Library. I'm thrilled that we have this opportunity to celebrate and elevate poetry as a form of expression. As Jamie had said before, there was some community advocacy for establishing this post, and I just wanted to give a shout out here to Amy Graver. She had the idea to push this position, came to the town, worked with the trustees, and gave us some guidance in establishing this post. So thank you, Amy. We also looked to other towns in Connecticut to see how they administered their programs and followed their established practices for our program guidelines. We are very proud to collaborate with the town of Branford to make this position one that will truly represent the entire town for years to come. And though the trustees and the library took on the task of administering the application process, the selection committee, who actually chose the Poet Laureate, was made up of members from various groups in town to ensure broad community representation. Together, we selected Dr. Judith K. Liebmann to be Branford's first Poet Laureate, based on her decades of experience in teaching, sharing, writing, and publishing poetry, combined with her ideas for collaborating with other poets and organizations, and for connecting poetry to people. Judith has so far shown herself to be a force of nature, bubbling over with ideas and energy. She has begun creating months' worth of program offerings around town, has created a Branford Poets Council, joining forces with other local poets to have even more offerings for the town. We are thrilled to have Judith on board as Poet Laureate, as she helps bring poetry to the community, making it accessible and appreciated by all. Today, I am so pleased to welcome and introduce Dr. Judith K. Liebmann as Branford's first Poet Laureate.
So first of all, thank you all for coming. It was a great turnout, and it's very encouraging. I have written out a statement, which is unusual for me. I usually just get up and talk, which I usually do excessively. But I wanted to be very clear about why I'm doing this and what I hope to accomplish. I believe the human heart is meant to sing. I believe we are born ready to express our deepest joys and worst terrors in words and rhythm, and that we are born able to react with empathy to the poetic songs of others. Small infants, not yet able to sit up by themselves, spend endless hours in playful experimentation with the sounds they are able to produce. Toddlers become enchanted with nursery rhymes, and the picture books of preschoolers are filled with metaphors that speak to their fears of loss and abandonment, and to their yearning to be loved, both profoundly and dependably. As we grow up, we seem to lose this direct connection to the emotional power of language. We are taught in school to organize our thoughts, to be logical, and to present our argument according to accepted form. We need to be able to do all this, of course, just as we need to be able to read analytically and critically. Science, the law, and our democracy depend on it. But we also need to learn how to turn off our literary superegos. There are ways of perception that circumvent the judgmental and the logical, that allow us to react directly to images and the ambiguity of words, and to the music, sounds, and rhythm that are the undercurrent of all language, but particularly of poetry. This intuitive access to deep meaning and to our own complex emotions is a vital part of our humanity, shared across the globe and for millennia. I am convinced that a wider access and enjoyment of poetry is vital to restoring to our society this all-important pathway to shared empathy and self-knowledge. As Poet Laureate, in collaboration with Branford's many cultural and governmental institutions, and with the input of its citizens, I will try my hardest to make that happen. And for that opportunity, I'm very grateful to the town of Branford, to Jamie Cosgroves for his innovative leadership, to the Blackstone Library and its director, Katie McNichol, who, if she called me a force of nature, I would say it was certainly matched by her. And all of those who have stepped up in the most helpful ways, especially the staff of this library, and to the director of the Willoughby Wallace Library, Alice Pence, who with her staff has already contributed great innovation and creative thought to the kinds of things that we can have as events in that library. I very much hope you will all attend some of the events that we've planned, and also that you'll feel free to contact me if you have ideas about other events or how to change them, or anything that you would like to discuss. And as a final nod to my new office and to my commitment to include poetry wherever possible, I would like to end by reading a pair of poems written for this occasion that address the nature both of creating and of appreciating poetry. Ars Poetica. How to write a poem. Begin with a deep internal dive. Submerge in the dark and secret places where light and the pull of earth recede. Float free and weightless as in the depths of an open sea. Embrace with gratitude and even ardor whatever you find lurking there. Surrender to its tug without resistance, fearless as to where and to how far it will transport you. You will know when you arrive, to reemerge where images arise unbidden, and meaning is shaped by sound and light and shadow. Now, take up the pen. And the second poem, which makes the first poem meaningful, because without a reader, there is only a one-sided, one-dimensional creative activity. Reading a poem is a very creative activity. How to read a poem. Enter through the open portal to where meaning rides an arc of reticence and implication, and leave behind the need of certainty. Pay close attention to the words, to the plumage that they wear, and how they strut and preen like pigeons, taking up assigned positions in their measured pace, orderly and disciplined, more or less. Read aloud what you find written. Roll your tongue around each sound. The sibilant rasps and undulating vowels, the shadowed overtones that darken cheer, the open purity of key of C. Catch your breath at all those oddball images. Be dazzled. Let them seduce, disorient, and pull the rug out from under your resistance. Ask yourself, what does it all mean? Was your elation, the gasp of recognition, your puzzlement at shared distress, the intention of the poet, or just an accident of misinterpretation? Then disregard the answer. Be touched. Have courage when the ground you stand on quakes. Exult.